Hey everyone, thanks for watching Europify. If this is your first time in my channel, my name is Amrita. I live in Germany and I make informative as well as travel content around Germany and Europe in general. So lately a lot of folks who have an offer from a German or a European company or folks who are planning to study in Germany have reached out to me to ask what they should pack for Germany. And this brings me back to my mirror time in 2017 when I was moving to Poland. At that time there were not as many YouTube channels to get all the informations from, so I was totally clueless and I just hoarded whatever I could. So in this video I'm going to list down all the things that you should bring along to Germany and for that matter to Europe if you're moving, and things that you can avoid that you get very easily here. So yeah, let's dive into today's video and understand what are those things. But before moving ahead, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do stick around, and if you like the content, please consider subscribing, and also do watch my previous videos if you find anything informative. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's divide the things to bring into a few categories. The first one being the clothes. Now, what to bring in clothes is highly dependent on, in which month you are moving to Europe. For students, it's going to be either the summer intake during the April month or the winter intake during September, October time. But for someone who is moving for work, it can be any time during the year. So let's assume you're moving during the summer, and for here the summer season normally lasts from beginning of June till end of August. So during this time, it's not really worrisome to think about clothes because you can roam around even without jackets. But if you're moving for example during end of March or March till May, or during late August to late September, you should bring a light jacket or even a denim jacket with you. Also some sweatshirts or hoodies will help because it's not as hot as in summer but also not as cold. So yeah, consider bringing a sweatshirt or a denim jacket for sure. Also, if you're someone who enjoys wearing clothes of different colors, colorful clothes, then I would suggest to bring a few clothes from India, because in Europe normally the fashion is more in neutral colors. So yeah, if you enjoy wearing such pop-up colors, then do bring some along. But if you're moving during the winter season, I understand it can be a little worrisome, but let me guide you what you should consider bringing along. Now, the first thing is the thermal wear, which is the innermost layer of clothing during winter. You should definitely consider bringing thermal wears, at least a couple of them from India. Brands like Jockey or Lux Cozy, they have good thermal wear. But coming to jackets, I would suggest if you can, then avoid bringing it from India. It will take a lot of your packing space, and also the quality of jackets that we get in India that might not suffice here, because the cold here during the winter is of a different level. So I would suggest avoid bringing jackets if you can. But I understand that if you're coming here during, let's say, end of December, which is highly unlikely during the Christmas holidays, but in January or February if you're coming, then you don't have any option, because at least for the commute from the airport to your stay, and at least for the first few days, you need something till the time you figure things out. So maybe you can bring something from Decathlon, which is normally of good quality. So you can layer it with some sweatshirts, the thermals that I mentioned, and this jacket from Decathlon, and that should suffice for a few days. And once you settle down a little, maybe after a week or so, you can explore the local brands here. It's not like only expensive clothing is available for winter. There are many stores which offer reasonably priced winter clothes. Shops like C&A, Primark, H&M, New Yorker. In these shops you'll get very cheap winter clothing, the jackets, and for that matter you need a pair of gloves, something to wrap around your neck, those big scarves, and a beanie, the woolen cap. All of these you can find from these stores. This is useful especially for students and for folks who are coming for work as well. Till the time you get your first salary to spend, you can certainly spend in these brands. These are highly effective, speaking from experience really. So you can see the ranges starting from even 10 euros, but I would suggest to go around the range of 20 euros to get some highly effective clothes. The last thing about clothes is the formal wear. So if you prefer wearing business formals to the office, I mean, casual are also allowed here, but if you prefer or for a business trip, you should bring a couple of those along from India because, brands like Allen Solly or Van Heusen, those are pretty good in India. And but most importantly, I feel the size we get in India are as per our build, but in Europe they are a bit wider and bigger in size than our Indian skeleton. So I sometimes struggle to find things of appropriate size. But yeah, once you are settled here, then you can explore the very different stores and buy those. But for initial days, I would recommend bringing a couple of those along. Now the second category is the footwear. So if you're coming during summer, I would suggest to get a couple of flats if your luggage limit allows it, because in Europe as well we get flat footwear, but I feel in India the variety and the quality is way better. So if you enjoy wearing a loafer or a flat, then I would suggest bring it along. But if not, you get good ones here as well, so nothing to worry about. But if you're coming in winter, then also don't bring it from India. You get good winter footwear which keep your foot really warm in Europe. It's in both high range as well as in reasonable prices, but don't bring it along because they won't suffice again. Here the shoes that you get, the snow boots, or for that matter the winter boots as well, those are specifically made for the harsh winter here. So yeah, you can buy it from here. Shops like TK Maxx or H&M and Deichmann, these shops offer shoes at a reasonable price, so consider checking out those. Now the third category of things is the utensils. Now it doesn't need any special mention that pressure cooker is an essential part of every Indian kitchen. So as Indians we prefer cooking at home, so I would definitely recommend bringing a pressure cooker. If you're a single person, something around 2 liters should suffice, but if you are a family of 2 or more, then I would recommend bringing something around 3 liter and above. But also make sure to buy one which is compatible with your induction cooktop, because in Germany you normally don't get gas cooktops. It's really rare. So you normally get these glass or ceramic cooktops, and mostly induction safe pressure cookers should suffice. So make sure to bring only those one. If you make South Indian food at home like dosa or idli, I would say consider bringing those dosa pan and idli maker along. These are available from brands like Prestige in induction safe models. So I would link those as well in the description box that I personally brought, and those work just perfectly here. And for Indian tea lovers, this is really important to bring a few chai strainers along, because you get the tea strainers here, but those holes in the tea strainers are bigger than what we get in India, so those are not quite effective. One other thing from the kitchen stuff to bring along is the rolling board and pin for Indian bread, or the chakla belan. So you get those in these Indian stores, but again those are pretty expensive and you need those for your initial days as well. So yeah, you should definitely bring those. You get these pizza rollers and the pizza rolling pin here, but I don't think those are as effective. So definitely bring those along. Now for day-to-day use plates and bowls, I wouldn't recommend bringing those from India because there is a fair chance that they will break while transferring. But for the initial day or 2 days use, you can bring something of steel along that won't break, and then you get very reasonably priced utensils here from shops like Woolworth, Teddy. Now the fourth category of things are the electronics. So the first and foremost thing to pack is a universal adapter. And that is because the pins that you get in the Indian electronic devices are different from Europe's, and your Indian devices won't work here as long as you don't have that universal adapter. I'll link one of those products in the description box so you can buy those while you plan to come here. But along with that, I would recommend bringing an extension cord along for using your Indian devices as well. When it comes to things like laptop and phones, I haven't seen much difference in the prices between India and here. In the US, it is exceptionally cheaper, so it's worth buying there. But when it comes to Europe, I haven't seen like big offers in electronics in these 4 years. So I would recommend, if you have one already that is fully functioning, you can bring that along. But if you don't have, then you can consider buying it from here instead of buying a new one from India, because it has a few different keys in the keyboard in the German laptop and stuff, so it will be easier for you to familiarize yourself from the very beginning. But when it comes to pen drives, hard drives, and things like battery banks, I would recommend bringing it from India, because in my experience, these are pretty expensive here. The last one is especially for ladies. If you use devices like curlers or hair straighteners, don't recommend buying it from India, because you get it in a very cheap price here, a lot different varieties. So yeah, you can just go to any shops like Saturn or MediaMarkt, or for that matter in some bigger supermarkets as well, like Kaufland and stuff. You can get hair straighteners, curlers in a very cheap price, so don't bring those along. Now the fifth category is again for girls, and it is about cosmetics. So in Europe, you get a wide range of cosmetics, depending on your budget, from as cheap as €1 to really high range products. You can get that really easily here. I mean, of course, if you're allergic to products and if you want to stick to a certain brand, then you should definitely bring it along. But if that is not the case, I would definitely recommend checking out these drugstores like DM, Rossmann, Müller. In these, you get just a wide range of cosmetics. So yeah, definitely it's worth buying here. Now the next category is again something important, which is about medicines. So if you are, taking a medicine regularly, then I would recommend bringing the prescription along if you're getting those medicines in your luggage, because at times in the customs check, they can, filter out these medicines, and if you don't have the prescription, they may seize it. So definitely bring those prescriptions along if you're bringing some medicines in bulk amount. But along with that, I would recommend bring those common medicines like cold, cough, flu tablets, because those are really, these OTC products are really easy to get in India. Here, of course, you get those medicines as well, but the process is a bit different. You need to go to your house doctor and get prescription, and only when you show that in the apotheke, which is a pharmacy, only then they give you the medicines. And also getting that prescription from the doctors here is not easy, because having tea is the cure for almost everything, my friend. So yeah, to avoid these hassles, bring at least a few supply for the first initial days. Now the seventh category, which is the most important for us in fact, and that is about the food. Now, when I say food, it also includes spices and stuff. So as you know, we cannot live without spices. So for the initial days, you should bring along the different spices for at least a month or so. And if you're a student, and if you can, also bring in bulk to avoid spending a lot in the Indian stores here, because of course you get everything in the Indian stores, but it is of course expensive. So yeah, if your luggage allows, then bring it in bulk, all the turmeric powder, the like mirchi powder, garam masala, everything in bulk. But if you are okay to buy it here, those are also not as expensive. But in the initial days, we all have the tendency to calculate it back in INR. So if you want to avoid that feeling, at least bring it for a month or two and you're set. So in almost every city now you get these Turkish shops, Indian shops, Pakistani shops. So you will for sure get everything from brands like Shan and Everest, MDH, all of these. But for initial few days, I would suggest bring all the spices along. And for especially students, you should bring some ready to eat from Haldiram or MTR and these brands, so you don't spend a lot of time in cooking. Instead you can concentrate on studying. So those and things like instant noodles like Maggie and stuff, you can also bring some of those along. Yeah, about lentils, we normally, at least I use a lot of different varieties of lentils, and I prefer getting at least a couple of packets from India for a few days. So I would recommend for students, if you can bring different varieties of lentil, you can easily get those from India, but also don't bring in like 10 kilos or something, because I have heard some horror stories of people, getting stranded at customs for bringing a lot of lentils. So avoid doing that, and also don't bring rice and stuff. You can get those really easily here. But if you're moving here for work, sometimes these companies offer relocation expenses, so you can either courier it or ship it, or add an additional luggage to your allowance. And if that is the case, I would recommend bring as much food as you can, because you're gonna miss it, my friend, here. Now the last category, I'll have some miscellaneous things, and that would include the documents, first of all, which is very important. And you should bring all your original certificates since school till all your college, university, etc. And yeah, you should always have the original certificates, but I would suggest keep a copy of those at home, and also bring a copy which is notarized, so from a notary in India, for any purpose. If you need to get it notarized, it's again expensive to post it to India and then get back the notarized copy. So to avoid all those hassles, you should have one copy of these original documents at home. You bring the original along with you. Also bring a copy of all the notarized documents. And apart from that, have at least a few 16 to 20 passport size photographs, also in the visa format. So these are not hard, but in the initial days you'll need time to figure out. So to avoid all of that, you can bring along some photographs. And I have seen a few videos where people have suggested to get translated copy of some of the documents from India. But speaking from experience, when we were translating our marriage certificate in India, there were a lot of corrections that we had to make, and that is why, from my personal experience, I would suggest not to get it translated in India. I mean, I understand it is expensive here a little, of course, but again, if it cannot be used, then it's useless, right? Now, one other miscellaneous stuff that may sound trivial but is important for students, of course, is the stationery. So if you can, if your luggage allows, then also bring all those notebooks, those pens, etc. from India, because here you get really simple pens, and I personally don't like it. In India, we have those gripped pens, etc. So I prefer those, but again, up to you. Apart from that, for ladies, bring undergarments and sanitary pads with you, because undergarments are really expensive here. And yeah, till you figure out the different brands, also keep a supply of your sanitary pads, etc. Yeah, these are some of the miscellaneous stuffs that you should bring along. Now let's embark in this video on a very important note, and that is about the currency. Now you may know that Euro is the currency here in Europe. Apart from some of the countries, of course we have exceptions like Poland, Czech Republic, in Switzerland, etc. You don't have Euro as the official currency, but for most part Euro is the currency. So when I came to Poland in 2017, I had this Forex card with me which was loaded with Euros, and also I had some cash with me, and also one Indian credit card. So make sure you have your international currency enabled in your bank's credit card, and with that you can swipe it almost everywhere. And also with Forex card, the withdrawal charges are like very minimal, so you can use that in the initial days as well. So that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope this video gives you at least a little bit of information about what you should bring or what you should avoid bringing here. And if it did, don't forget to hit that like button, and also please do consider subscribing to my channel, and also feel free to share it with anyone that you know is coming to Europe and may find this useful. I'll see you next time in a new video. Till then, take care and bye.